Hello, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About It.
Hey
Tonight we have
everyone.
Adrian from Indiana Backyard Gardener as our guest, and I'm going to let Miss Adrian tell us all that she wants to tell us.
Hey everyone. First of all, my name's Adrian. I am turning my sound on my phone off. Sorry. I am Indiana Backyard Gardener. I have been on YouTube for 10 years, and I didn't start out with the intentions of getting monetized. I really just wanted to share information. So, um, I developed a passion for gardening and I just wanted to share it. So, the way I garden is mostly organic. I don't like to spend a lot of money on things that I know are free resources. So, like fertilizers, I like to make my own fertilizers. I like to use natural resources for anything I can use natural resources for. I would rather go that route than to have to go to the store and buy something that's either synthetic or chemical. So most of my gardening is pretty much all my gardening is organic. I don't know what wouldn't be organic. So and I garden different ways: raised beds, in the ground, containers. Any type of way I can grow something, I'll grow it. I like to do things in containers to save space, especially with like peppers, because peppers take a long time to grow. And in my area, I have a short growing season. So sometimes what I'll do is I need to grow peppers in a container so that way, towards the end of the season, when they're just starting to put on a lot of peppers, I can provide them with protection if I need to, or move them if I need to, if they're in a container, so it makes it easier. I am a seed addict. I'm addicted to seeds and everything seeds, and
Well,
I am not ashamed of it.
how much property do you have?
Um, our property is just under 2 acres,
Okay.
so it's about 1 3/4.
And are you in the city limits or in the
Yes,
country? You're within the
in the
city
city.
limits.
Yep.
Now, is there anything you can't grow because of that?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things that I can't grow. I would have to actually get a greenhouse that is heated in order to grow things like citrus. Well, maybe not all citrus, because there's some exception with citrus, but
Mhm.
like tropical things, they just will not survive in my area. It gets way too cold, and we get down to below zero at times. We go for extended periods of time in the cold, so anything tropical would not last.
How is your weather right now? Did you get hit by this latest winter storm?
We did get some snow. We didn't get it as bad as the South did. Like southern parts of Indiana got it worse than we did. We're really, really close to the lake. So we're very like at the top of Indiana. And I think we might have got, if I had to guess, I would say about 4 inches of snow.
Yeah,
And it was cold. It was definitely cold, but it's been colder. I've had it colder. So
right.
it's not the worst that we've had it.
And are you born and raised there in northern Indiana?
No, actually I was born and raised in Chicago.
In Chicago? Well, that's even colder. That's even further north.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay.
was born and raised in
Well, we
Chicago.
have somebody in the chat, Northern Woman, and she lives close to Lake Michigan and the Indiana Dunes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she's close to that area too. And you've got a couple people, the everyday life of an OC dish chick.
OCD-ish chick,
and on your
Nikki.
side. And also, there was another person.
I cannot see that.
Yeah, you won't be able to see it on my back there.
Okay.
You'll be able to see if you pull up your channel, you'll be able to see who chats on your side. But on mine,
Oh,
it shows me both of them. It's
okay.
LP, the,
I've never been on Restream. This is my first time.
oh, okay.
I've
Yeah,
always gone from
I don't know why it does not give the guests the option to see the chat. It's kind of weird. But
I
now,
don't I don't think I like that part. But
hello, married in Arkansas. And
let me
Lisa D says she's in Wisconsin, so she's even more north.
Oh, okay, I see it now. I see that there's some that are like where it's in purple and it says paired.
Yes,
I
and
think
so
those are
that
the
means
ones that are
those are on
kind
your
of
side.
on my channel. Okay. Okay,
Yes,
yes,
yes.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you guys
So
for joining me.
I pinned your link at the top of the chat, and I
Okay.
would like anybody that is in here on my side, go pop over on Adrian's side so that you can not only connect with her, but that also she'll get the time. So,
I've never bought seeds at Target. That's interesting, Nikki.
oh.
I've never looked at Target for seeds. I'll have to stop in there when I'm over that way next time.
Hi, retired Red. Welcome.
Jaden, hello. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, so I don't I we didn't get a lot of snow thankfully, and we didn't get all that ice either. Because you're in Georgia, right?
I'm in South Georgia.
So did you get
So
a lot of ice?
we didn't get anything yet.
Oh
Um,
wow.
Atlanta, which is about 4 hours north of me, they got some snow, but it hasn't even rained here. We haven't.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
And
because I
it's
know
um
Lisa.
it's 35 out there temperature wise right now, but it's clear. Hey, my girl Waffles, welcome.
Lisa
Yes, so
is in I
I
don't know
don't
if you
think
know
we're gonna
Lisa
get
from our Georgia suburban homestead.
it.
She's in obviously in Georgia, but she had a lot of snow, quite a bit of snow on her place. I think I can't remember what part of Georgia she's in, but she's definitely in Georgia and she got some snow. She put up a short of all the snow that she got. It was a
Yeah,
lot.
well, they were predicting that we would have snow here. And my daughter teaches school, and she was thinking that schools would be closed. And she
Yeah.
said, but the only bad thing about that is I don't know how to drive in the snow, and I'm not going to be able to go anywhere or do anything. And
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, but you'll be off. But
Yeah.
it didn't happen. So, hey, surviving together, and Dawn, welcome.
All right. Yeah. So what else did you want to talk about?
Well, you said you just wanted to share information, but
Yeah.
are you monetized now, or are you
Yeah, you know what? I actually just got monetized like
okay?
last week.
Because I know I was at your 2,000 subscriber party, so I
Yeah.
knew you had hit the 2,000, but I didn't remember if it said you got monetized or not. So
Yep.
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
it is definitely a struggle to get monetized. I was talking to somebody today, you know, everybody, the ones that make it big, it looks so easy, what they do.
Yeah.
And it makes everybody think, oh well, I'll just start a YouTube channel and I'll be, making all this
Right. And
money.
I'll get paid and
Yeah. And then when they actually find out some of
yeah.
the stories of how long it's taken some people to do it, it's like, yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be like that. But hey,
Right.
I am glad that I am on YouTube and I am able to do what I do on YouTube. But yeah, I didn't think about, oh, I'm going to make money. That never crossed my
Yeah,
mind.
that was not like an intention of mine either. But when
Mm-mm.
I started to get really close to the mark, I was like, well, what it's not going to hurt to get monetized because then anything that comes to the channel can go into the channel. So,
Right, right.
I don't spend a lot of money on gardening as it is, but like when it comes time for like the seed swaps and giveaways and things like that, then those types of things cost money. And
Right.
if you're monetized, it helps out. It makes it all the better because then the more that you get from the YouTube monetization, you can put back into your channel and give back to your subscribers.
Well,
At least that
I
would
was
be my
using
intention.
I was using an old Chromebook laptop
Okay.
that I had bought my daughter when she was in college. So we're talking many moons ago. And nothing is set up really to be used on a Chromebook. I mean, I had so much trouble with different
Really?
programs and things, and because of the age, it was slow and
Yeah.
all that. So one of the things I did when I finally got monetized is I bought this new laptop and I financed it, but I can make my payment on what I make off of YouTube. So
Okay.
I try to make my laptop payment, pay for my Restream, and pay for my Canva program that I use. And if it'll pay for itself, so this hobby isn't costing me money, then
Yeah.
that'll be great. You
Right.
know. And then I try to do giveaways too. So it's like just the postage will kill you. I decided, I'm probably not going to do giveaways where I actually give things I have to mail. I liked how you did it with the digital books. That was a
Yeah.
smart thing to do because you're not having to deal with that postage.
Absolutely.
Hello,
Absolutely.
Nancy. Hello,
Anything to cut
Ashley.
down on that.
And
On
hello,
that.
Henry. Y'all jump on over there to Adrian's channel that's posted at the top of the chat. Make sure you go give her a like and subscribe. But anyway, so we met on YouTube because of your name, because of Indiana Backyard Gardener. I was like, "Oh, I'm from Indiana. Where are you from in Indiana?" And I
Right.
was really surprised when I found out that you actually live in the town that I went to high school at, and that's where I took my driving test. Now,
Wow.
I lived in South Haven off of Highway
Okay.
6. And
Yep.
so some things we would go to Valparaiso for, and some things we would go to Portage for. And I did all my high school in Portage. And
Mhm.
I practiced driving in Valparaiso. And then my uncle took me to do my driver's test in Portage. And I actually failed the first time because there was
Oh.
a turn that I didn't realize I had to get over into a turn lane to turn left. And so they failed me. So yeah, so I
Wow.
didn't like that too much, but but it's nice to know somebody that still lives up in that area, especially with the weather, because the weather is like the biggest difference coming down south.
I bet. I bet you love it down there, don't you?
In the summer months, I start to think, gosh, it is so ungodly hot. I don't remember Indiana getting this hot. But in the winter months that I can go in just a sweatshirt jacket, I'm like, yeah, I like this. This is nice.
Yeah.
But I remember, I think it was like in 1986, maybe. No, not 86, because I moved in 86. Maybe it was in 1968. There was a really bad blizzard and we got snowed in for almost a week. And I can remember my dad walking to the store with a sled to get whatever groceries he could get.
Yeah.
So we had some rough weather there. They say it's not as bad now with the
It's not.
global
It really is
warming and
not.
all.
We hardly get any snow. Matter of fact, I haven't the last I would have to say the last 5 to 7 years we have not gotten enough snow to even go sledding.
Wow.
Now we'll get the snow, but then right away it'll melt because we'll get the snow, and then it'll be like 40 degrees or something like that, and then all the snow melts away. But like, if I want to say like 2016, 2017 was probably like right around the time when we were getting like some good snow. We would get like, I mean, some 12 inches at a time sometimes. But
Wow.
since then, we have not gotten snow like that.
Yeah. We used to get it so bad. And, as a kid, being able to go out and, build a snow fort and a snowman and make snow angels and play in it and all that, it was great. But as soon as I was an adult and had to shovel my car out and wait on the snowplow to come to be able to get to work and stuff like that, I was like, this is not good. I do not want to be doing this.
Right.
So,
But like here, they expect you to come to work. Like,
oh, yeah. Like it's not an excuse that you had snow.
yeah, they expect you to make it to work. They expect you to be prepared for the storm ahead of time and be able to make it to work because the streets are plowed, they're salted. You know what I mean? You're responsible to make it to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas, like in the South, when it's snowing or ice storms or whatever, everything is shut down. It's like if
Yeah.
there's even a dusting, they don't have the capabilities and infrastructure for that. So they don't want anybody out traveling because that's just going to cause more harm than good.
Well,
But
like we don't
here,
even in our convenience stores or even in our auto parts stores, they don't sell the ice scrapers to like scrape your windshield.
yeah,
So if it happens to get below freezing and your windshield ices over, you're just going to have to sit there till your defroster, can defrost it because you can't even get an ice scraper. I thought
yeah,
about ordering one off of Amazon just to have it, just in case, that was to happen. But it's just so weird because, even though it's Walmart or Target, they carry items for their area. It's like
yeah,
depending upon what area you're in, you'll find different items at different stores. And I've looked, and we just don't have anything like that. And the idea of anybody having like snow tires or a snow plow, even like a snow plow attachment to put on your riding lawnmower.
right.
A lot of people up in Indiana had those when I was a kid, but it's like, what? A
Yep,
snowplow?
they go right, they hook up right on top of, right in front of the John Deere.
It's crazy. But now up until last year or the year before, we had not had a hurricane come through here at all in like 160 something years. And then we've had three
Wow.
come through here in the past 2 years, which one wasn't a full blown hurricane by the time it got to land, but the other two were. And,
Yeah,
we still have, I think that was like in the end of September, I think end of September, beginning of October, but there are still big tree trunks laying on the sides of the roads because we're not equipped to even clean
yeah.
up all that debris from from a hurricane. Like Florida,
Wow.
Florida boy, they send the troops in there and they get it cleaned up. But here in Georgia, it's like, yeah, that thing's going to be sitting there for 6
Right.
months to
Good
a
luck with
year.
that.
It's weird, but they're just not prepared for it at all. Let's see. We got
Oh, okay, I see. Restream is so different from StreamYard.
I know to me things are backwards on
It
its
is. It
and
is. I'm
should
trying to get to the bottom of the chat and I'm looking and I'm like, I don't see these comments because I'm looking at my phone because I got my channel up so that I can see
uh-huh.
the comments. But I'm looking at this chat on the screen and I'm like, I don't see these comments. But I was just seeing them a minute ago because the new comments are at the top of the stream, at the top of the chat. Whereas when you're on StreamYard, the new comments are at the bottom. So I'm
Uh-huh.
looking at the bottom of the chat and I'm like, why is this not moving?
It was just really strange when I first tried the Restream. I was like, okay, I didn't think it was going to be this difficult to figure it out. But now that I've been using it for a while, I went over to StreamYard to record something the other day.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to get myself up onto the screen. I was like,
Oh my,
um,
you forgot how to
there-
use it.
yeah, I was like, there's got to be something I have to do because I'm not on the screen yet. And then because on here you don't have to do that. You're just automatically on there. When you turn your camera on, you're on. So it is
On
different.
on Restream?
Yeah, on Restream, when you enter into the studio, you are on camera unless you cut your camera off.
Okay, yeah.
You
I think
don't
it's
have to
the
like,
same with StreamYard. I think you um you have to actually enter the stream in order to be, in the on the screen.
yeah, but you'll be on there, but you have to add yourself to the stream. Whereas
Yeah.
on this, when you in the beginning of getting into it, when you first go into it, then
Hmm.
you're in there. You don't have that step. And then your guest, there's not like a back stage or a basement, where you would see the people come up. It's over on
Okay.
the same side as the chat, and all you have to do
Oh.
is slide like a little slide button. You slide that slide button, and they're on stage. So
Oh,
if you don't want them
wow.
on stage, don't slide that slide button. But it's totally different than how the StreamYard.
So
And
let
I was
me
like,
see.
okay, I'm lost. I don't know how to do anything. And then I couldn't figure out how to change my background, or I was like, okay, none of this looks familiar to me at all.
Let me say hello to a few people. We got David
Okay.
Gray. Thank you, David, for coming in. Nicole Smith Gardening, Jamie's Country Living, Nikki, Everyday Life of the OCD-ish Chick, FR Humphrey, Felicia, thank you for joining me. Retired Red, thank you, thank you. Hello from Echo's channel. DJ Nico, aka
Nikolai. Hmm.
Nikolai. LP, how are you, LP? Troy, how are you doing, Troy? Are you still in the hospital? I know Troy was had some surgery and he was still in the hospital last time I saw him in one of these chats. So hopefully he's gotten home by now. Lisa from our Georgia Suburban Homestead. She wants to know, what part of Georgia are you in, Echo?
I am in Hahira, which is about 20 miles north of Valdosta. Valdosta is the bigger town.
Okay.
I'm in just a little
Linda.
one stoplight town, but I'm
Let me
right off of 75. So I'm, and I'm only about 30 miles to the Florida line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of Georgia, all the way at the bottom, almost to Florida.
Nice.
So our weather definitely is more like Florida weather than it is like what people think of like North Georgia or around Atlanta. That it's a lot. It's about at least 10 to 15 degrees cooler north, in like by
Hmm.
Atlanta. My ex and his wife, they live in South Carolina, but just over the Georgia line, a little bit past Atlanta, and then over onto the South Carolina side. And they're always 10 degrees cooler than us.
Oh, wow. My son is
Oh,
stationed in South Carolina.
Kristen is here from Bella's Whisper Farms, and she said they got 4 inches. Now she's in a town, let's see, like east, maybe northeast of me a little bit, probably about a 3 hour drive or so. But yeah, they got it there. Wow, that surprises me.
It's, yeah, that whole band across that, like mid section, like just south of the Midwest, that whole band, Tennessee got really like hammered with that ice storm. And Arkansas got, I think, there was a part of Arkansas that got 14 and a half inches of snow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's a lot to deal
it
with.
is. It's been crazy. Yeah, but
Wow.
normally we get the snow and we did not get it. So maybe And it's not done. I think there's another storm coming behind this one that just went through.
Wow. Now, see, when we first moved to Georgia, I think it was probably maybe once or twice. You could see the snow flurries, like if you looked in the street light, you could see them flittering around in the air. But by the time it got to the ground, it was melted. So it never actually
Oh,
accumulated on the ground. But then I think it was 2017, it actually did accumulate and was there for about half of a day before it actually melted. But it wasn't but a couple inches. But it was enough that it covered everything.
yeah.
So, and that was in the beginning of January that year. And I had had surgery on my leg, and I was supposed to be on bed rest. And here my daughter comes running in there. It's snowing. I'm like, no, it's not. Because it never snows in Georgia, right? So I
Right.
got up out of the bed with my crutches and everything to get to the door. Sure enough, it was covered with snow. So I'll never forget that snowstorm. But it's just not something we deal with here at all.
Yep.
You know. But people down here think that 60, 55, that's cold.
Oh,
And I'm like,
no
that's
way.
perfect weather. It's like it's not cold till it's below freezing. I mean, to
Right.
me, in my opinion, you know.
Yeah. And if it's, don't let it be blowing when it's cold like that either, because it's even colder. It feels even colder because of the wind chill.
I was just gonna say it's the wind chill factor that makes it so unbelievably cold. And down here, of course, we don't even know what the wind chill factor is because we don't have the cold. It doesn't get cold enough for them to worry about if the wind is blowing on it or not. So it's
Right.
really it's something. But yeah,
So
people
right
will.
now it's 27 degrees and the real feel, which is like the wind chill, is 20.
Yeah,
So 20 degrees.
I can remember it being so cold that just trying to breathe outside, it would feel like it was burning your lungs
Yeah.
because the air was so cold.
Your cheeks would get chapped if you didn't
Yeah,
have anything on your face. From
yeah,
the wind burn, it would be wind burn.
yes. Yeah. And I can remember as a little kid, my mom putting us in those stupid snow pants and snow like a snowmobile suit, and she'd get you all everything, the gloves on, the hat on, everything, and then it'd be like, I gotta go to the bathroom. It's like strip all that off, go run to the bathroom, then
Right.
come back, get it all back on, be outside for all of about 5 minutes and come in just dripping wet because of the snow. And she would be like, oh, you kids, it's like, why'd you even go out there? It's like, because it snowed. But we missed a lot of school because of the snow, being snowed out or snowed in rather or whatever. But yeah. But now, what time of year can you actually start planting stuff in your garden?
I don't do a lot of seed starting indoors. Um, I just know myself, and I know that. Um, hold on, I feel like I hear an echo. Um, I feel like I'm too neglectful with seeds indoors. It's just me. I'm not gonna. A lot of times I've attempted to start seeds indoors, and then life happens, and I get busy, and then oh, I gotta water those seeds,
Mm.
and they're already dried out, and I have to start over. So I don't even bother with starting seeds indoors anymore. Um, the only thing I might start indoors is peppers, and only because they take a long time and we don't have a very long growing season. So I might start peppers indoors, and I might start things like winter squash maybe because they take more than 100 days. But other than that, I don't really start things indoors. I like to do winter sowing because I find that winter sowing is a lot better for things that are like perennial or herbs or things that are really finicky to germinate. If you put those things outside in a winter sowing jug, nature's going to take its course. The cold is going to stratify the seed that needs to be stratified. If it doesn't need to be stratified, it'll the cold and the moisture will break down the outer coating of the seed. That way, when it comes time and temperatures are ideal for that seed to germinate, it'll be ready to germinate because it's already been outside and it's already
Oh,
been
okay.
prepped. And
Okay.
I also find that things that I have winter sowed, they do a lot better acclimating to the environment that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
So, like oregano, I winter sowed oregano and sage and lemon balm and lavender. The not last year, but the year I think the year before that, or maybe even a couple few years ago. And that stuff comes back every year for me. And I
Oh,
hear a
that's
lot of people
great.
say they have such trouble germinating lavender, or their oregano doesn't come back every year. They have to plant it every year. But I mean, winter sowing works. It really works. Now, I didn't get everything to germinate, or I didn't have success with everything that I winter sowed, but herbs and perennials definitely do well if you winter sow them. So I like to do things with minimal effort that costs almost nothing and don't take a lot of time. So winter sowing works for me because it's like set it and forget it. It's like
Yeah.
putting your seeds in a slow cooker.
Wow.
And
I think you need to do some videos on that because I'm probably not the only person that didn't know about that. I'm sure there's other people that don't know to do it like that, especially in the north, in the colder areas. That would be great to do that. Because that's the thing. Once you put them in the ground, you still have to wait for them to germinate and to grow and everything. So you're just getting ahead of the game doing it that way. Yeah.
yeah, and you don't have to worry about it. Like nature will take its course. Nature will water them. The jugs act like mini greenhouses.
Yes.
So it's like whenever the temperature and atmosphere is ideal for that seed to germinate, it's going to germinate, and it'll keep it at the temperature that needs to be because it's in those little green and those little jugs.
Yeah.
So frost won't get to it. It won't get damaged. It'll just grow like it should. So
Hmm.
that's one way that I like to start seeds. And
Mm-hmm.
that can be done anytime during the winter. So I could go out there now and sow my jugs, which I will probably be doing next week. By the end of next week, I'm going to put out some jugs. So I'll probably do a video on that.
Yeah.
'Cause I do have a few perennials that I want to winter sow. I'm trying to build up more flowers for the pollinators.
Oh, okay.
So, and then everything else, I tend to kind of try to direct sow as long as I can provide the protection for it. I've done a few seed starting series where you can direct sow your seeds earlier than your last frost date because of the protection that you provide for them. So if I can go outside and put the seeds in the ground and provide like a um, cold frame or like a hoop house or like a drop over greenhouse, something to provide some protection for that, then it'll keep the soil warm and those seeds will germinate and they'll be protected. So
Well,
it's like a start.
I only have my patio, but I want to try to do either some of those like vertical planters or
Yeah.
even just container planting. But I want to grow. I did a cherry tomato plant one time, and it did really good. But I want to do like cherry tomatoes and baby cucumbers and green peppers. And I think
Okay.
I'll be able to do that on my patio. But Georgia has such a long growing season that,
Yeah.
you know, but the only thing I'm worried about is the watering because we do get so ungodly dry here.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't have a hose attachment outside to use. So whatever I do, I'll have to carry the water from in the house out to the plants to do that. So that's the only thing I'm really thinking, well, I don't know if I want to do it or not, but I definitely like the idea of having that fresh produce right there on my patio, you know.
Yeah.
So,
And there are varieties of lettuce and greens and things that do well in the heat. You just
yeah.
have to look to see what varieties are suited best for heat. So there's a lettuce, um, and it's called, I wrote it down the other day. It's called,
Oh, Dawn has a good idea. She says start a rain barrel. I could catch rainwater.
yeah,
Oh, that is
absolutely.
a really good idea.
The bronze mignonette lettuce
Okay, let me
is
write it down.
one that does really well in heat. It's very slow to bolt and it doesn't get bitter when it starts to get hot. So the bronze mignonette is one that I'm gonna try to grow this year. Um, I've got some seeds that I traded for, so I should be getting those soon.
Now, do you know does it make a head of lettuce or just leaves like the leaf lettuce does?
I'm pretty sure it's leaf lettuce.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's leaf lettuce. But
Yeah.
there's varieties, there's a handful of varieties that do very well in the heat. So you would have to look into which varieties would do better in your area because it gets
Yeah.
really hot. And then you could keep them. And like you said, you got a balcony, right? So do you have like a shaded balcony or
No,
does it
it's a
get outdoor?
patio. I'm on the ground floor.
Oh, it's a patio.
Yeah, but it's a patio, but it is covered. So
So you do get some shade.
I do get some shade. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good.
I feel like
That
they
way
hear.
it's not out there baking in the sun all day.
Yeah. It was really strange though because when I lived in Indiana, I could not even grow a house plant. It would die.
Oh, wow.
And I was kind of like you. I would forget to water it, and then I would like overwater it, thinking I was making up for lost time and all of that. So it's taken me several years to get where I can have a house plant that grows. And so the last two winters, I didn't think we would get a freeze, and I didn't bring them in. I left them on the patio,
Oh,
and they froze. And I have a monstera, which is a big, like tropical
yeah.
type plant that someone gave me. And that thing has turned completely black and died down to the ground, you know, to the bottom of the pot twice, and it has come back twice. And it is beautiful now. But this year I said I was going away for Thanksgiving. I said all those plants are coming in the house because I am
Okay.
not going to get caught again by a surprise freeze, you know, and have them die like
Right.
that. So I had to bring one of my plant racks in the house to be able to have room, you know, to put them all. And I've got my daughter now where she's got 4 or 5 plants. And I told her, I said, you got to bring them in. They can't be out on the patio. And she has a screened in patio. And she was like, yeah, they'll be fine. I said, no, they won't. Bring them in the house. And so she asked me the other day, you think I can put them back out there? I said, no, not with the storm coming. It's like they're going to be
Why
dead.
don't you want them to die?
Oh my gosh. So,
Let's
and when I
see. So
went,
Jan came in. Let me say hi to Jan, Simply Jan Homestead, Wild Edibles, Teachers Couple Talks. These are some people that just came in. Thank you guys for coming in.
oh, and I think
Um,
Awaken must have come in on my side.
who else? Shawnee Grows. She's
Yeah,
listening.
Awaken did. Hello, Isha. Oh, and Jimena too. Hello, welcome. I am so bad at watching the chat when I've got somebody to talk to.
Thank you, Lisa, for leaving the stream up. She's going to make dinner.
When I'm up here talking by myself, I definitely pay attention to the chat because I'm talking to the people in the chat. But when I have a guest, I forget about
Yeah,
that and I'm talking to the guest. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I do have a chat. I need to be paying attention.
yeah. So,
Yes. Um, Teresa, she does. Her channel is pinned at the top of my chat. And if you would like to click on it and go over to her side, and you can check out her channel as well.
Thank you, everyone, for coming in.
Yeah, we're
Thank you for
having a
sharing
great
it
time
out.
now.
Yep. So I've been doing the seed swap for 3 years now.
Oh, yes. Explain how that works to us.
So it's the IBG seed swap, and this is IBG seed swap 25, obviously because it's 2025. This is my 3rd year doing it, and I love it. So it's not like every other seed swap. Basically, what I want from people is a wish list, and I want like 5 things on their wish list that they are looking for, or need, or you know what I mean, can't get their hands on, maybe because I have a lot of different avenues that I trade seeds on. So I ask people to give me a wish list, and I let them know, like, I'll do my best to try to fulfill your wish list. So I want everybody to send me 3 varieties of seeds, any varieties that you want to share, 10 seeds of each. Now there's no maximum. You can send as many seeds as you want. I have some people that always send a lot of seeds. And then the minimum is 3. That's all I'm asking is 3 different varieties, 10 seeds each. But a lot of times people are trying to get rid of seeds that they don't want, or that didn't grow well for them, and they'd rather just, share it and get rid of it and get new seeds. So a lot of times people just send me like a ton of seeds. So basically, give me the wish list so that I can work on trading others for what I need to fulfill your wish list.
Right.
Let me know what it is you're sending so that I can get a, idea of what's coming in, and also send me 5 stamps. So 5 stamps, 3 seeds, and a wish list. And that's pretty much it. Plus I want information like, what don't you want to grow? What seeds are not good, to send you?
Mm-hmm.
Because just because you have 5 seeds on your wish list doesn't mean that you're not going to get more than 5 seeds.
Right.
So I want to know also, like, what don't you want? Like, some people are like, oh, I don't grow squash. Don't send me any squash seeds. Or I'm gardening on my balcony, so I don't have room for, vining crops. So I can't do vining cucumbers, but I can do bush cucumbers.
Yeah.
So I need to know those types of things so that I know what types of varieties I can send you. Some people just like flowers. Some people don't grow vegetables, like just herbs and flowers and no vegetables. So I already know, that I'm not going to send out tomatoes and cucumbers to somebody who only grows herbs
But
and
yeah.
flowers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sometimes people are like, I'm looking for anything white this year. Like, I need a white, you know, clover, or I want white zinnias, or like they want a specific color. So they're doing a
Yeah.
color theme. So I will be able to look for like white this or white that, and even just white cucumbers or white pumpkins, or like anything white. Sometimes it's anything purple, or you
Yeah.
know, some people have a theme for their garden and they want like all these, or they'll get on a kick to where they're like, oh, I want all the purple things, like all the black vegetables, like the black prim tomato, and the Cherokee purple, and the purple beans, and I want whatever.
Yeah.
So I like to get all the information, not just, what 5 seeds are you want and what 5 seeds do you send, or 3 seeds are you sending.
Yeah.
I need to have all the information so that I know how to tailor the seeds to you and what you want to grow.
Right. Now,
Basically, that's it.
what kind of a turnout have you had in the past with doing
Oh,
it?
yeah. Like the first year I did it, I probably had oh my gosh, probably 20, maybe 20, 25 participants.
Wow.
It's not always YouTube channels. Like it doesn't, you don't have to have a channel. You can be a subscriber. I've got people that, participate from Facebook. I've got people that participate that are just, they just are subscribers. They just watch.
Hmm.
They don't even really comment on anything, but obviously they're watching because every year when I start the seed swap, they are in.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
I never see them, but as soon as I come out with the seed swap, then bam, there they are. So I know they're
Well, it's
watching.
especially if they're doing it year after year, then they're obviously
Yes,
happy with what they're getting, and they're like, "We're looking for that. When are you doing it?" So yeah, that's
yes,
great.
yes. So
Yeah,
it's
that
always good to see, like, oh, there's Robin. She doesn't comment or on anything, or you know what I mean. I never see
right.
her other than when it's time to do the seed swap.
Yeah,
So I know she's watching though, because if she wasn't watching, she wouldn't know when the seed swap was coming up. So
that's true. That is
yeah,
true.
so there are subscribers that watch and they just don't comment. They're out there.
Yeah. Well, I've learned that now that I, figured out I can watch stuff on my television, and I'll put it on, and I never think, oh, you get on your phone and make a you can watch the video on the TV, but you could pull your phone out and go to that video and make a comment,
Yeah,
but usually I'm crocheting or, doing something else. And I'm just like, yeah, I got it on and I'm listening in the background or whatever until I hear something and I'm like, what they say? Let me go back that up and start that part.
right, right.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's same thing for me. Like I'll be playing it on the TV while I'm on the computer doing something else, or just occupied, and then I'll hear something and I'll be like, oh wait, I need to comment on that, and then I have to get my phone, go to the video, go to the comments, like
but then I
let me
forget.
comment on
What was it I was gonna say?
that.
What
Yeah,
was it that I noticed in that video when I was watching it or whatever? But what I've started doing is I do when I go through my notifications, I will click them to my watch later list. And that way when I go to sit down to watch something, I've got something to watch and I can
yeah,
watch it on my computer, on the TV, on the tablet, whatever. So
right.
I've been doing that a lot, but then still sometimes I don't bother to go in each one and comment. And I'm like, yeah, this
I'll
one I
thumbs
don't
up
even know.
because you can thumbs up from the computer. You can do the like or the thumbs up, but you can't
Yeah,
comment. I mean, I'm sorry, from the TV,
yeah.
but you can't comment. But yeah, I sometimes I used to make a whole watch later list from like everyone that are the regulars, and then I would play it while I was driving, or doing always doing something else. I would just be playing it, and of course I wouldn't be commenting, but I would definitely be doing the thumbs up. Hey,
Hmm.
Hugo Homestead, thanks for coming in.
Hey, Huga.
Hugo.
And Janet from Almost Homesteading came in. And there was somebody else I just saw. Ellie's Endeavors is over here on my side. That's a relatively new channel. Thank you for coming. And of course, Elise is here on both of her channels. Thank you very much.
Wounds to
Love
Wisdom.
that.
Thanks
Pardon
for
me?
Wounds to Wisdom, Teresa. She came into my chat,
Yes.
probably from your side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks, Michael,
She
for being
actually just started her channel like a few weeks ago, but I met
okay.
her through the village. I don't know if you've heard anything about a group of channels that go by the village. It's just
No.
a lot of channels that are um,
Oh,
all
there's
about
Kathleen,
helping people, um, with
Heather.
mental health issues or addictions or
Oh, that's
um,
good.
just any kind of thing like that. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, Awakened is in that. She started it, and she had come in my chat one day, and she said, "We're going to do something for Christmas." Do you want to participate? And they were doing a 48-hour stream where everybody had did like our time slots, and that way the people that didn't have anybody to spend Christmas with, they could get on and know somebody would be on around the clock to be able to watch and
Oh, that's
hang out with.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was a lot of fun. So then they did it for New Year's too, and they had done it for Thanksgiving, but I didn't know about it then. But
Okay.
anyway, so I started going into a lot of their channels and meeting them, and they've been coming and meeting me in my channel. So I have a lot of new friends, and they're very down to earth, nice, people. I haven't met anybody yet that I was like, okay, I won't be watching that channel. Everybody I've met's been like, oh, that's a really good channel. I like that. And everybody is different. Everybody has a different thing that they talk about. So it's really good. But yeah, now
That's
Teresa Wounds to Wisdom, she just got hers started. I think at Christmas she didn't even have it live yet. So she's
okay.
real new. And then the one DJ Nico, he's the one that is helping me learn how to write use the Suno AI generator to make music. So
Oh,
him and Awakened both. She's helped me learn how to make the images and told me about the Suno, and then he's been helping me learn how to do the Suno. So I have some songs that I have either helped write or now I'm trying to do the lyrics myself. So,
wow.
but
Okay.
it is so much fun. It is. I have never thought that I was a very creative person. I just was scared to try, I think. But now it's like
Yeah.
I'll try anything once. I may fall flat on my face, but I'll still try it. So, but that's one thing about YouTube I've always disliked is that you have to have the copyright free music. And the music
Oh,
that
yeah.
YouTube allows is usually no lyrics and not very good
Yeah.
music
Fun. Yeah.
anyway. And I'm like, I want my own music, I want it to be original and stuff. And so I've been playing with it, and now I'm like addicted to it. It's like, oh my god. So
I still
that's
have to
what I've
figure out
been
how
doing.
to put stickers and all that stuff on my channel now. I haven't even messed with it. They keep sending me emails telling me, "Oh, congratulations! The next step is to do this. Get started." And I'm like, "I will.
Yeah.
I'll do it I'll do it when I'll get around to it."
And it's funny because you wait so long for it to get to that point, and then once it does, it's like you hadn't heard from anybody about anything, and then you hit that mark, and it's like, okay, now we're going to harass you until you get all
Right.
these steps done.
They
And
want
it
me to
says
set up
that,
this and
your
that and
next step is do this.
right.
You know,
I'm like,
yeah.
I will. I'll get to it. I have to figure it out.
It just, to me, it makes uploading a video take longer because I don't let it decide um, on the ads 100% on its own. I kind of like to know, like there's certain
Oh,
ads I don't want them to run. I mean, especially since my audience is a little bit older, I don't want it to be all, you know, adult diapers and Geritol and
oh
stuff like
wow.
that.
So you get to pick your ads too?
Well, you can say like I don't want this category, or I don't want, you
Oh,
can't
oh, like
necessarily make
categories.
say
Okay.
by specifics, but then there's also, you can let them decide where they put them in
Ooh.
the videos, or you can pick the different places you want to put them and things like that. So you
Well,
can
that's cool.
customize it a little bit.
I'll have to look into that then. I'll have to go in there and see what it's all about.
Yeah, it's interesting the way that they go about it, and how it generates the revenue. And um, when you look at it at first, I was like, boy, that video didn't do very good, didn't make but a couple pennies, but then you'll see something else will make a few dollars, and you're like, oh, okay, that's all right. But it just really depends on I think what their mood is at the time, whether or not they're gonna, you know,
Yeah. I'm
but
I'm not even gonna be watching. Like it won't even be a thing. Like I don't usually I'm not really obsessed, I guess you could say, with like watching hours and watching how many subscribers and how many hours did I get today or how many hours did
oh,
that
me
that
neither. Mm-mm.
how many hours did this make or that make, and it's enough to drive you crazy. So I'm not trying to be, overly involved in monitoring hours and all that stuff. Like if it happens, it happens, then I'm glad for it. But I like it just to be organic, and you know whatever videos get the hours, they get the hours, and whatever lives get hours, they get hours, and it's just it is what it is. I'm not going to be like, oh, stressing about, well, that video didn't do well, so what was wrong with it, let me go back
Oh
and
yeah.
I don't have time for
I'm
that.
just like, oh well, that wasn't their cup of tea. Okay, I'll do something else.
Right,
But
right,
I'm
right.
funny because I'm only going to do content that I want to do. And I'm
Yeah,
only going to do stuff that I would watch. I'm not going to,
right,
just because
yeah,
somebody says, oh, well, this is really popular now. You should do this or do that. I'm like, but I don't care about that. Or I don't like
right.
that or whatever. And I'm like, no, that's okay. I'll just stay doing what I'm doing. And either people like it or they don't like it. But I always say on my live streams, I don't care if, one person comes in. I'll talk to that one person. I don't
And
care.
then sometimes it's like it's really hard to get the camera on. I've gotten a lot better with it, but like sometimes I'm just doing stuff and it's like, man, I probably should have made a video when I did that. So
I
it's like,
I find myself doing that too, especially with cooking, because I don't cook that often. But then when I
yeah,
do, and it's like, oh, that turned out really good. I should have made a video on that. But you
thank you, LP. Thank you for coming in.
know,
Have a good night. Anne said she made her first batch of lip balm. Good job, Anne.
I bet that's fun to make.
I
I
was
was
in
watching
Aldi.
Gail and making her soap and all. That looks kind of fun. I
Yeah,
don't
I was
know.
in Aldi yesterday and I saw a soap making kit in Aldi for 7.99. They
Oh
had
my
a soap
God.
making kit and they had a candle making kit. I was tempted to buy it, but I was like, you know what? No, because I'll do it and won't even film it.
I wonder if my Aldi has them.
You
I
should
should go
check it out.
I should go and check it out and see.
I saw them in there yesterday. It smelled really good too. I think they came with like three essential oils. One of them was lavender. Um, One of them was lavender, one of them was orange, and one of them was like, I don't know if it was balsam or like a spruce scent. But I smelled the box and it smelled really good. I was like, I'm tempted to buy this, but I was like, nah.
I think what holds me back on doing hobbies and crafting things and all that is that it just seems like you start buying stuff to do, and then you think, oh, well, I got to have this too, and I got to have that, and I want some more.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you need a whole room just to have all your craft stuff in. And
Yep.
I think I've
And
always,
I'm obsessed enough with seeds. Like I'm surrounded by seeds right now. Like I've got seeds over here. I got seeds down here. I got seeds behind me. I got seeds on this side. I got seeds in front of me. Like I've got seeds everywhere around me, and I'm fine with that. I'm obsessed enough with seeds. So,
well, this is my bag of yarn. Now I just am learning how to crochet, and I
oh
already have
wow.
this huge bag of yarn because every time I go somewhere, I'm like, I gotta look at the yarn, and then I'll buy yarn and do one thing with it, and be like, okay, well now I want a different kind.
Now I need a different color.
I did make washcloths. to
Okay.
do my dishes with. And Elisa told me to get a cotton yarn, so the water will, go in
Yeah.
it and you can throw it in the washer. Well, I was in the Dollar Tree and they had little, whatever they're called, little things of yarn
Skein.
um, in the cotton. So I guess I thought I was going to need like hundreds of those washcloths. So I bought a bunch of that yarn to make more washcloths, but I already made like about six of them. I'm like, I don't think I really need any more right now. I have six, you know, but
Right.
they're
Well, good for
easy,
them to
and
have.
I'm still learning on how to do the different stitches and stuff. So it's, but
My seventh grade teacher taught us how to knit when I was in seventh grade, and I never learned how to crochet, but I know it's what isn't it like the opposite of knitting?
when knitting, you have two needles and
Yeah,
you kind of build it on one and then you bring it back over to the other. Crocheting,
yeah.
you just have a
So that's
hook and you just do it, as you go. But this one of
oh,
my subscribers and friends, PJ, made me this for my birthday and said,
ooh, that's
it
pretty.
is so gorgeous.
Oh, I
And I'm
bet it
like,
feels good
I
too.
want to learn how to do that stitch. And she said this was a new pattern that she hadn't done before. But she also made my little granddaughter a little scarf, and it's
Oh,
purple. And so now she's like, everywhere she goes, it's like, my scarf. I need my scarf. So, but
I
one day I'll be
got
able to do
one thing in
stuff
the
like that.
winter. One thing in the winter I can't go without is a scarf. As long as my neck is warm when I go out, I feel like I'm warm.
Yeah. Well, they're definitely, it's not something we need down here all the time, but they're still nice to have. That's one thing I've noticed since I had my weight loss surgery. I'm cold now. I used to be the most hot blooded person, and everybody else would be like, that they were cold. And I'm like, I'm not cold, I'm hot. But now my head gets cold, my arms get cold. I'm like, I need a
Oh,
sweater, I need a hat, even in the house sometimes. I feel like I don't have enough clothes on. Nico
I
says,
don't get cold often, but when I do, I like to have my scarf.
that's funny, Nico. I don't know, Elisa. I don't know what I want to make next. I do want to make my daughter that blanket, but I don't think I'm ready. I have the hardest time keeping my stitches, keeping it the same length and keeping the
Okay.
tension on the stitches. I tend to get going, and then it's like it'll be kind of waving, instead of being
Oh,
straight.
is it because you don't have them tight enough?
Yeah, I think I'm not used to it enough to really hold the yarn and everything tight
Mhm.
enough to actually make it. And I
Yeah.
don't, I sometimes forget to count, and then I'm like, oh, I think I did an extra one, or I think I forgot a stitch there, or whatever. But I'll get better. I will. I keep practicing.
Yeah, I said I was good. I've got some things that I should be doing. Like I have a Cricut. I I barely even use it. Like I do stickers every now and then. I made a few t-shirts for us when my kids were graduating from the boot camp at the Naval boot camp. So I did like t-shirts that said like proud Navy mom, proud Navy dad, sister, brother, cousin, aunt. Like we all had t-shirts when we went up to the graduation and whatever.
Oh, that's
I've
cool.
done that. I've done stickers. I've done like decorations. My daughter graduated from high school. We had a party and I made all the centerpieces. So I did all the cutouts and things for her centerpieces. So I did that. But I really should be utilizing that Cricut a lot more, and I don't. I don't.
Yeah,
So
I've always
bad with
wanted to
that.
get a Cricut, but I don't know if I would use it that often, and I would probably end up buying an awful lot of stuff that I didn't have to have, you know.
Psalm 146. Thanks for coming in, DJ Nico. He said, well, knitters never say they, well, it just jumped. Knitters never say they miss anything. They yearn a lot.
Uh-huh. Yes, he's quite the poet, and
That's
yeah,
like
he's from
music,
Sweden.
you know?
He's from Sweden,
Okay.
and he speaks Swedish, Finnish, and English.
Okay. That's, hey, that's good to be bilingual.
Yeah. But I've been picking his brain because I don't know anything about Sweden. So I keep asking him, what's the weather like there? Do you have this? Do you have that? What kind of food do you eat? Like all kinds of things. He's like, oh, I don't know.
One of my friends growing up, she's Swedish. So they cooked a lot of like Swedish foods, and um, there's a Swedish museum in Chicago.
Oh,
And when her daughter was like, I don't know if it was like, I don't know, she was about 3 or 4, somewhere between 3 and 5 years old. She had her birthday party at the Swedish museum. I thought that was pretty neat.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. The food that her mom would make was pretty tasty. So imagine we have water on tap.
Well, I know it's not like a third world country. I do know that. But,
Right.
and I told him, I said, I guess I could just Google these questions that I have instead of harassing
Right.
you about asking you these things.
Like he's on the moon. He's living on the
But
moon.
I'd rather talk to
How's
somebody
the
than
air up
Google.
there? That's funny.
But anyway, so what else do you do?
Well, I'm gonna be preserving a lot more this year.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I do have a canner. I do some canning. I still haven't done any dehydrating, and I said I was going to. I have a Ninja that has, I want to say 5 functions on it. It
Oh,
does the frying, baking, uh, dehydrating, roasting, and grilling.
yes, that's
So
exactly the one I wanted.
the dehydrating option is what really sold it for me. And I said, oh, I'm going to use that, for the dehydrating or whatever.
Hmm.
I have not dehydrated, not one thing, not yet.
I wanted to make beef jerky or turkey jerky or stuff like that in it.
Yeah. So I really need to start doing some other things, like, because I've got some things still in the cabinet that I, did canning last summer. But this year, I'm really going to focus on growing things that I plan to preserve. Um, I need more diced tomatoes. I definitely didn't can enough diced tomatoes. I didn't grow enough tomatoes, really. Like a couple years ago, I really had really bad burnout. So I wanted to just grow all the things. I had like 20 varieties of tomatoes. Like it was ridiculous. And I was just so overwhelmed when it came time to harvest all that stuff. It was just crazy. So I told myself, never again. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it to what varieties and things that I really like and that my family will really eat.
Yes.
So I did that. But as soon as I did that, the bug and pest pressure was out of this world. And I got zero cucumbers. I got um, no watermelons, no squash. Well, I take that back. I think I got 3 squash, maybe 2 zucchini, and 1 yellow. Um, but all of those things were decimated by bugs. They were cucumber beetles and what else? I was mainly cucumber beetles because I really didn't have a huge vine borer problem this year, which was great. And squash bugs were pretty bad, and the cucumber beetles, insane. I didn't get anything that I really wanted to grow this last year.
And
So this
said,
year I'm going to focus more on growing stuff that I really want to preserve.
and said dry those herbs in your dehydrator. That's what I was
Well,
thinking, to grow a few herbs that I know I would use and then dehydrate them and,
I
keep them.
have a hanging dry herb rack. So I dry them in a herb hanging rack. So I don't
Oh, okay.
even dehydrate them. I just
Oh,
put them in this dry. It's got about five different sections in it,
uh-huh.
and it just hangs up in my shed. And when I harvest them, I just go and I put them in the different sections, and I just leave them there and forget about them. And then after, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, or whenever I remember them, or whenever it's time to harvest again, I'll go and I'll be like, oh, let me check on those herbs because they should be dry by now. And then I'll switch them out for a new batch. But I never use my dehydrator. So I know that Almost Homesteading with Janet said dehydrating is addictive. And I know that as soon as I get going on like dehydrating stuff, I'm not going to want to stop. So
Yeah.
I want to do like apple slices because I love apple chips. I want to do things that are going to be like really healthy to snack on. So I want to do like chickpeas because those get really crunchy when you
Yeah.
dehydrate them, and you can put different seasonings on them, and those are more healthy to eat than like say potato chips.
Yeah.
Plus you get protein. So I really want to focus more on preserving more healthier things and keeping things for like the winter. Because like now, I'm going through a lot of the things that I canned over the summer, but I realized like I should have canned a lot more. So that's
How
going to be
long
my
would you say that, say you canned a jar of tomatoes, how long would it be safe to keep it
oh
and still
that
eat it?
those tomatoes could last 5, even 10 years,
Oh, okay.
as long as you keep them in a cool, dry place. They can last for a really long time. Not that they would stay there that long, because I mean, we go through the stuff. But if you had to save it for that long, they are good for a very, very long time.
Oh,
Um,
Janet makes a good point. She said it's great for the budget because anytime she sees fruits or vegetables on clearance at the store, she'll buy
yeah,
them and dehydrate them. That makes
exactly.
sense.
So that's what I was doing this last summer. We have a farmer's market that is really, really close to us. Like, I mean, I could walk there, and they always have produce that is reduced for sale, or you can buy bushels of things, or they sell things in like bulk because it's a farmer's market and they
Mhm.
grow it right there. And then also there is another, like further down, there's a Mexican store, and they also do the same thing when things are starting to get overripe, or like to the point where they're just, they're super ripe, and if they don't sell it, then it's going to go to waste. They put it on a clearance. They package it all up into like one big bundle and saran wrap it, and that thing might be like $1 or $1.25 or something like that. So like if I can get a whole, let's say 2 or 3 pounds of jalapenos for $1, I
Yeah.
can chop those up and I can pickle them, and then I put them on the shelf.
Hmm.
Same thing for like, peppers and different things, fruits. A lot of times they'll put fruit on sale where the strawberries are like $1 what are those, pints
Hmm.
or a pound or whatever that little container is. They'll be like $1 each, and I'll buy up a bunch of those and wash them, chop them, and put them in the freezer. So yeah, my intent this year is, oh yeah, Psalm said you gotta try dehydrated strawberry slices. They're magically delicious. And said fermenting is addicting too, and good for the gut. So the funny thing, I did make my own apple cider vinegar.
Oh.
And that was delicious. Like I just actually decanted it yesterday,
Mm.
and it was long overdue. Like I should have decanted it probably last month or something, but it's vinegar. It's not going to go bad. So I had monitored it and videoed it the whole process, so I had to video when I was going to decant it, and I just kept putting it off. And then finally yesterday, I was like, you know what? Let me get this done. So
Mhm.
that's another video that I have to edit, but it'll be up soon. But I made my own apple cider vinegar, and it was great. And I got the mother in it too, so it was really
Yeah.
good. But
That's
a fermentation when
yeah.
you are making apple cider vinegar or uh, making any type of vinegar.
Like what kind of
Uh,
things would you ferment? Like
you can
cabbage?
ferment anything. You can ferment. I fermented garlic. I ferment. You can ferment all the vegetables. Fermenting is kind of like pickling almost.
I was gonna say, I imagine you use vinegar for it.
Not necessarily.
Oh,
You actually make the vinegar. So you just putting whatever you're putting into water, and then you might add a little bit of sugar, because what happens is the fermentation process is first, yeast has to do its thing, and you have to make sure that you're stirring it every day so that things don't mold. But yeast will do its thing, and then bacteria will take over, and then that thing will turn into vinegar.
okay. So when you say do you have to put yeast in with the vegetables, or the
No,
vegetables have yeast in them that'll
no, the
make
air has
has
yeast in it.
yeast? Oh, okay.
So what you do is when you have a jar of something, you cover it with like a coffee filter or say a piece of fabric, and then you put a rubber band around it, and you can let that yeast and that air you can breathe. Or they have it where you have a whole top that you put on, and like a weight that you put on the inside to keep it submerged, but you burp it every day. So you
Oh,
unscrew it and you let out any gases, you stir it up. That gets the oxygen flowing and into the mixture or whatever, and that introduces the yeast that breaks down and creates the good bacterias that then take over, and then they create the fermentation process.
huh.
But
That's
yeah,
really interesting.
but it's
I
really good for you.
yeah. I can see that it would be good. I wonder if it's anything, which I don't know how they make it, but that kimchi
Yes.
that Korean people make, I know
Yep.
that's
That's
fermented
fermented.
cabbage.
It's
Yeah,
almost like sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is
yeah,
fermented cabbage.
yeah. Okay, huh? That's interesting,
Yeah.
and
So
it
I
doesn't
think I
cost
had given
anything
away
but
a
the.
digital fermenting book on my
Hmm.
live. I think I get somebody won a fermenting book. I don't remember who it was now, but somebody won a fermenting and pickling book.
Mm.
So that was a cool thing to give away.
Yeah, and I like that idea that you did them the digital way. That was really a good idea.
Yeah,
It
that
just
way it
didn't.
can go right to somebody instantly, no mailing, none of that, extra
Hmm.
cost or anything like that. So
Right.
it's great.
It was definitely a good thing to give out. And I mean, some people might not even realize they wanted a book about something like that, but then when you had it
Hmm.
available, it was like, "Oh yeah, I'd like a book for that." I
I
love to
Speaking
read,
of
and I
books,
buy I buy way too many books.
I actually won a book on Lisa's channel, our Georgia Suburban Homestead, and it's the square foot gardening.
Oh.
So I am going to be putting some of this into practice this year, because I got two raised beds that I just put up this last fall that my husband got me. not last year, but the year before for my birthday. So my birthday's
Oh,
in September,
uh-huh.
and when I got it, I didn't take it out and I didn't set it up. So this following year, when the fall came around, I was like, you know what? I need to get those beds set up so that fall is the best time to create new beds, because that way over the entire winter, those things that you put in there, which are all organic materials, have a chance to like break down and be ready when springtime comes around for you to plant in. So I made sure that I got those beds all situated this last fall, covered them in straw, and then when spring comes around, I'm going to put some fresh compost on top, and then I'm going to plant in them. So I figured, since they're perfectly, squared beds, that I would implement this square foot gardening. So
Yeah.
when you're square foot gardening, it's more of like an intensive planting. So every square foot, depending on whatever it is you're planting, gets a certain amount of that seed. So like you can do 8 or 9 bean plants in 1 square foot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot. You can
Yeah.
do 15 carrots in a square foot.
Hmm.
And if my bed is 4 feet by 4 feet, I can probably do at least what, like 9 square feet, maybe 8 square feet, 8 or 9 square feet of planting. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I got one of those squares. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's a square, and it has like little holes in it, and it tells you it's like a guide, pretty much like a
Mm-hmm.
stencil almost. And you put it on that square, and it has all the holes in it already. So depending on how many holes you need, you can just go into those holes like with your like, I don't know, with like the back of your pencil or like a stick, and you
Yeah.
just make your holes in it, and it's already stenciled out.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
got all the holes in it. It's like a plastic square or something like that. So I
Yeah.
already had that. I never used it, and now I got the book. So I'm gonna definitely be doing some square foot gardening as well.
Yeah. Now, do you have to know what can grow with something else?
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
in a bed like that, you wouldn't want to mix certain things, I imagine.
absolutely, yeah. Like some things don't grow well together.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be interplanting things that are going to prevent each other from, you know, growing. Because, like, you can't plant garlic with beans, for instance. So I wouldn't be, garlic grows good with a lot of things,
Hmm.
but it doesn't grow good with beans.
Is
So,
garlic easy to grow?
oh, yeah, garlic is super easy to grow. Garlic, you plant that in the fall and you just leave it, and then you harvest it in July, June or
Hmm.
July. So over the spring and the summer, whatever, give it a little bit of fertilizer, make sure it's watered, and yeah, it's. I actually just got a lot of garlic from Jan, Simply Jan's Homestead. She
Uh-huh.
sent out some. They're called bulbils, and basically what it is, it's a seed that the garlic produces on the end of the garlic scape.
Hmm.
And you can't harvest it after the first year. It takes about 2 or 3 years to get garlic from those.
Oh.
But I went ahead and I planted those out. So that's
Hmm.
going to take a while to get garlic from, but I'm imagining that that's going to be some of the best garlic that I have ever grown. I
I bet.
can't wait.
Yeah, that would, and I never hear too much about people growing garlic, but that would be a great thing to grow because almost everybody uses it,
And it's so
in
easy.
cooking.
You can grow
Yeah,
garlic in a container.
yeah,
You can grow garlic. You can grow pretty much anything in a container.
yeah. Well, I'm excited about it. I was going to do it last spring and I got hurt and I wasn't mobile for a while and I was like, well, I missed that, time frame to do it. So this year I'm like, no, I'm going to plan ahead and I'm going to be ready and I'm going to do it. Because when I had that cherry tomato plant, um, I want to say I had it for about 3 years and it came back every year and gave me lots of little cherry tomatoes. So, you know,
Yeah, tomatoes are like a weed.
yeah. So I was
Well,
like, yeah, I'm
peppers.
definitely gonna grow the tomatoes. And I've got my granddaughter eating the little baby cucumbers. And
Oh,
my daughter's like, my gosh, that child eats so many cucumbers. And I'm like, she could be eating a whole lot worse things,
cucumbers are
you
good
know?
for you.
Yeah.
Cucumbers are really good for
Yeah.
you.
And she doesn't drink much water. And there are a lot of water content in a
Mm-hmm.
cucumber. So I'm like, yeah, it's good for her to eat them. But
Yeah.
she just absolutely loves them, and I shouldn't have gotten her hooked on the baby ones, but I don't like the real big ones, and
Yeah.
so I had tried the baby ones, and I was like, "Oh, I like these better." Next thing you know, she's like, "Yeah, I don't want her mom." My daughter was like, "She won't eat the big cucumber anymore. I have to buy the baby ones." I'm like, I know.
You
She
see
only
what you
likes the baby
started?
ones,
And
but it's
you
okay.
can grow those.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
grow those little, I think they're called like gherkins, and they're little baby cucumbers.
yeah. That's what, and I
They're
figured I can
usually
do those in a container probably.
they're usually Asian varieties
Mhm.
that grow the small little vegetables. It's usually an
Mhm.
Asian variety.
So, I don't know. I've got some research to do and get it all figured out, but I'm definitely going to give it a try. I mean, can't, can't be
Yeah,
that bad.
definitely.
And it
And you
might
can
I might actually grow something. You never know. I've got plants right now that my friend gave me starts of. And I'm like, I wonder how long I can keep them in water before I actually have to plant them in soil because I just have not been transplanting or planting anything here lately.
Oh yeah, if it gets root bound in those little cells, then it'll be stunted. The growth will be stunted, and you probably won't get a really good production out of it. So you have to definitely move it up, and you can put it in anything. Like you can have like a McDonald's plastic cup, and put some holes in the bottom and fill it with something and like some grow medium. You could do cocoa coir, peat moss, potting soil, whatever, and just so it has more room to spread out its roots.
Yeah.
And it's going to need some fertilizer too. So,
And what kind of fertilizer do you put on your plants, or do you make that yourself? I think you said.
well, so the in the beginning stages of the plant's life, I use a heavy nitrogen fertilizer. Um, Nitrogen will help it get bushy and lots of leaves, and
Mm,
that's going to help it start the photosynthesis process. So heavy nitrogen, and then once it starts putting on whatever fruits that it's going to produce, like if it's tomatoes, peppers, uh, cucumbers, whatever. Once it starts to get those flowers and starting to put on fruits and stuff, then I want to switch over to less nitrogen and more of a phosphorus and potassium. So when you look on fertilizers, it says NPK. The N is nitrogen, the P is phosphorus, and the K is potassium. So there's numbers on your fertilizer if you're buying like a liquid fertilizer or a granule fertilizer, whatever you're buying. There's numbers on there, and it'll tell you what number or how much of each is in that fertilizer. So
mm,
basically, what I do is I take my comfrey that I grow in my garden and I take those leaves up and I rip them up as small as I can put them, and I might put them in a juice bottle or a milk jug or an empty coffee creamer container, something, whatever I have out there. I'll put it in there, fill that with water, shake it up, and I'll let it sit for 3 to 5 days. And then I'll use that to water and fertilize my plants. So that is
okay.
going to give me my organic fertilizer, and it's going to give me the nitrogen that I need from that comfrey, because comfrey roots go really deep down. So there's not just nitrogen in comfrey, but there's a lot of other nutrients in comfrey. So I just know that my plant's going to get some good nutrients from that comfrey.
Hmm. Well,
Five,
I like the idea of knowing what you're putting on your plants, and what's going to be
yes.
in the food that you end up with, in the end of it. So
Mhm. I have
that's
a
good.
video on my channel for a homemade fish fertilizer. So a lot of people will buy that 511 that's sold in the stores. But the thing with the 511 is they don't give you the good parts of the fish that you need for your fertilization. So there might be good parts. There are good parts in there, but some of it might be synthetic, and I just would rather just make it myself. So I make my own fish fertilizer, and I make banana tea. So the bananas obviously is potassium. So I do a lot of extracts, I guess you could call it. So I have worm castings. Worm castings are some of the best fertilizer you can use in your plants in your garden. And what I'll do is I'll take the worm castings, I'll put in a coffee filter, I'll tie a piece of like twine or something around it, and then I'll put that in a bucket of water, like a 5 gallon bucket, and maybe leave it for like 3 to 5 days. And then I'll take that water and water my plants with it. And then
Oh,
whatever's left in there, I just throw it in my compost pile or put it around my plants.
huh. Well, and that's probably saves you money too because you're not out there buying all the chemicals.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm trying to do the most that I can with the least, spending the least that I can. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? The
yeah.
most economical, using free resources, using resources that either are free or very inexpensive. So, like the fish fertilizer I make from cans of sardines.
Okay.
Cans of sardines are like what, $1, $1.50 maybe. You can get
Yeah.
them at the Dollar Tree for like $1.25.
Uh-huh.
So cans of sardines, a little bit of molasses, and some sawdust and some water, and that's it.
Hmm.
And after, I can't remember if it's 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, you just, you're stirring it up or whatever. Then it's pretty safe to use on your plants. You dilute it and you just water your plants.
Hmm.
Another thing is bunny or rabbit manure.
Uh-huh.
Rabbit manure is a cold manure. You can use that right on your plants. It won't burn your plants at all. So I used to have rabbits, and I still have rabbit manure that I'm still using.
So maybe that's why people have rabbits. They have
Yeah,
rabbits for the manure.
I had rabbits strictly for the manure.
Huh.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
And I only had two. And those two rabbits produced a lot of manure. I still have manure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that'd be good, especially if you had kids and they wanted a pet and be like, yeah, that pet needs to pay its own way. It needs to be making
Yeah.
food that we can use.
Yeah, rabbits are giving back. They're definitely
Mhm.
giving back.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's not
Well,
hard.
I wish I had lived somewhere that I had some land so that I could do some more, homesteading type things because I'm really fascinated by it. But just so far, life has not put me in that area yet. So we'll see.
Yeah. And I have the land, I could do it, but I know better that I don't want to take on more than I can handle. And I know already that if I did all the things that I wanted to do, that I'd be doing it alone. So I wouldn't have, like, my husband works long hours. He works um, outside, he works a hard job. So he wouldn't be here to help me do anything of the sorts.
Yeah.
And I already know myself, like, I don't want to be regretting things because now I'm doing it myself and I don't have any help. And you know what I mean? So I don't want that to be something that causes an issue later
Yeah.
when, you know what I mean? When I'm like, maybe I'm bitter or resentful, like, oh, I don't have any help. I need, for this, that, or the other. And now I have, let's say I have a whole, I have chickens now and I have goats and you know what I mean. I'm doing all the things, but now I have to do it all myself. And all of that stuff takes work. It takes work and time and hard work to take care of animals. I
But
mean,
don't you
they
think
are
that's the problem most people have, is that they don't look at the big picture, what it's going to take for, I mean,
absolutely,
for anything, not just homesteading, but for anything.
yes,
And they think, oh, I could do it. And then they get involved in doing it. And then, like you said, they get resentful because,
hmm,
oh, this is more work than I thought, or nobody's here to help me, even
right,
though what you might get out of it would be worth it. But if it becomes that
yeah,
much of a strain, on you to do it, how is that helping your life?
right.
I don't
If you're not
understand that.
happy anymore, like you might be happy in the beginning, like, oh, I'm so happy, I got this, I got that, whatever. But depending on where, like, I live in Indiana, winters are harsh. So I don't, I'm
Yeah,
not
what
going to
would you do
be,
with the livestock during the winter?
I'm not going to be in favor of trying to go outside in, -10 to make sure my chickens have water because the water's frozen and,
Frozen. Yeah,
whatever else.
yeah,
And, making sure the goats aren't escaping into the neighbors' yards and running across the street and whatnot. So it's work to build infrastructures for those animals, to keep them safe, to keep them clean, to keep them fed. It costs money to do all that. It's not free. That stuff is
and
expensive.
I heard somebody the other day saying that they couldn't go somewhere if it was like more than like an afternoon type thing, because they have to take care of their animals at night,
Nobody's there to do it.
because they have like coyotes and things that'll get their animals if they don't take care of them.
Right,
And to me, it would be more of a stress to have to be that responsible for all those animals' lives than the
right.
benefit I would get out of it. Now, maybe some people, they don't look at it that way, but I think we have to know ourselves enough
Absolutely.
to know, what is it that's going to make you want to do these things, and are you going to be able to stick with it? Because a lot of people start things, invest money into things, and then it doesn't work out, and then they go to
Yeah,
something else, and then
right.
like their family gets to where it's like, well, you never finish anything, like all
Yeah.
you do is start things and throw
And
money
quit.
at it, and you don't do
Right,
anything.
right.
So, and it to me, it's hard to know yourself. I mean, it's good that you know yourself that well and you can say, I know I wouldn't
Yeah,
do that. I think a lot of people don't know, and they look at the fairy tale of it, like, oh, wouldn't it be
yeah,
wonderful?
right.
And then
Because I
they,
mean, it's definitely has all the benefits.
yeah,
Like, for instance, we got this storm that we just had, and everyone ran out and bought milk, bread, eggs, whatever. So, what I mean, things were off the shelves.
hmm,
Homesteaders are not worried about that type of stuff. They go outside and get their eggs. They make their bread at home. They milk their cows or their goats. They got milk, they got bread, they got eggs. They're
yeah,
not they're not worried about that type of stuff.
yeah,
They
yeah,
have their own meat birds, or they've got beef stored up in the freezer or what have you. So they don't have to worry about that stuff. But it comes at a price. You have to be able to devote and commit to that type of lifestyle. And it looks glamorous and it looks great, on the screen,
hmm,
but it's a lot of work. And you
yeah,
have to be prepared to take on that amount of work And if you don't have a big family that's willing to step in and help you out, or, if I wanted to go on a vacation, I have to worry about who am I going to find to watch my animals, to feed my chickens and, whatever. And
And
who,
like you said, your husband works a full-time job. He's not going to be there to help you do things, and things are going to happen when he's not
right?
available, and then it's going to fall back on you that you're going to have to be out there trying to figure out, what to do or whatever. So yeah,
Yes.
I think it's probably only certain kind of people can handle, doing all
Yeah.
of that. And I'm glad that they can, but like I said, I just don't think that I think I would get resentful after a while, and I would be like, is it worth it? I would be questioning, is the amount of time you have to put into it and everything you have to go through, is that worth it? I mean, I have a dog, and sometimes I think, boy, if I didn't have that dog, I could go and do things, and not have to worry about getting home, take care of the dog. But I can't imagine having, a bunch of animals that
Yeah.
relied on me for protection and for food and water and all of that.
Right. Cleaning out stalls and cleaning out the chicken coop, and, you know, all that stuff is work, and it
Yeah.
takes patience, and it takes dedication and commitment. And I know, like, my two oldest, they just left to go to the Navy. So they're, my daughter's in Japan right now, my son's in South Carolina, and I have one more at home. But once she's gone, and she's also going to go to the Navy, but once they're all gone, like, I already know I'm not going to be stuck at home. Me and my husband are going to want to travel. We're going to want
Yeah.
to, do things that we weren't able to do while we, had all the kids here. So, you know, I already know, like, I don't want to be tied down
Right.
to not be able to enjoy things later on in life that, I might have been able to enjoy had I not had all this responsibility.
Well, and having 3 kids in the Navy, like you said, the ones in Japan, you may wanna take a trip to Japan,
Exactly.
and that's not like a day trip, So,
Right.
how would you work that out? And then
Yeah.
too, I think a lot of people have people who, especially like farmers, like they rent out their land or they have people that farm the land for them or whatever. But what if you can't get anybody like that to help you? I mean,
Right.
it's all on you. That's a lot of stress, I think. But then again, too, a lot of people who have farms and homesteads and things like that, they were born into it and they know, I mean, it's a way of life and they already know, what all it's going to entail. Whereas like somebody like me,
Right.
I wouldn't know the first thing about what was going to, um, what I had
Mhm.
to do. And then I would be like, oh no, I can't do all that. So
And
yeah.
it's hard. It's hard because sometimes you get an animal that might get sick, or, something happens and you don't know how to handle it, and, you lose that animal. That's emotional. You know what I mean? That's loss. That's like at your hand, you know what I mean? On your
Yeah.
watch. I
Yeah.
would feel so bad if I when I lost my rabbits, I was so devastated. But it happened because the rabbits, my male rabbit, got out, and he was interacting with the wild rabbits. So I guess he caught something from the
Mm,
wild rabbits.
mm,
And wild rabbits and domestic rabbits don't mix. So he caught something from one of the wild rabbits, and he wasn't able to recover from it, but he also gave it to my female rabbit.
mm.
So then they both, like, within days of each other, just, I couldn't save them. I took them to the vet, and they tried everything, but they couldn't save them. So I was
Mm.
devastated,
Yeah.
and I could not imagine going through that on a regular basis. Not to say that you lose animals all the time, but, like, anything can happen. The other day somebody was like, "Oh, my chicken, she was good, but she just, she died. I don't know why she died. And things happen with chickens, and if you're not prepared, or you don't know what to look for, or you don't know the signs, of different things, then you lose that chicken. And it's sad, but it happens, and I don't want to have to go through that.
No, I'm too tender-hearted. I'd
I
be like,
am
no.
too. I can't. I'm just like, I dread the day. Like, I know that my Zeke is not going to live forever, but I dread the day that I have to say goodbye to Zeke. He's my little puppy boy. He's
Mhm.
4 now, but you know, it's inevitable. He's not going to live forever, and I know
No,
that.
right, right.
But I dread that day.
Well, when I had a male and a female Chihuahua, and I lost the female first, and then I said, well, okay, still have the male. I'm, never getting another dog. And then when he passed away, I was like, I'm definitely never getting another one. And then I ended up getting Chloe, and Chloe was supposed to be my daughter's dog, but I bonded with Chloe, and Chloe was like, I don't want nothing to do with her. So, oh well, I have Chloe. But now that I've had her for 12 years, it's like I can't imagine what life would be like without her. But I
Right?
know she won't live forever. But people
Yeah.
are telling me, oh, they live for until they're 20 or 25. I'm like, that dog might outlive me. So I told my daughter, I said, you have to promise me that you'll take care of
Right.
her if something happens to me, because I don't want her going to a total stranger. She's like, that
Right.
dog doesn't like me. I said, well, she'd like you if I wasn't there, if she didn't
Right.
have any other choice. But yeah, you just never know. And then I was talking to somebody, and they have a parrot, and I guess parrots can live for like hundreds of years.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought
I
parrots had
didn't
a.
either. But it's like she said, like the parrot's like 75 years old or something. And I'm like,
Oh
what?
my gosh!
And
I don't
they said
believe
you
that.
have like when you have a parrot, you have to like plan for its life after you're gone. Like who's going to take custody of the parrot
Oh
because
my
they
gosh! I
live
never
so
realized that.
long. Yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But I don't know. I didn't investigate it to know if
Wow.
it was true or not. But I do seem to remember something about certain animals live a really long time, but I don't know if it was parrots or not.
Turtles, right? Turtles live long.
Turtles, like the real big sea turtles and stuff, they live a long time too.
Yeah. Or tortoises, they
Yeah,
live a long time, I think, too.
but I don't know. I just don't. I've lost so many animals over the years that it just breaks my heart because I can't not get attached to them. I try
Yeah.
not, I always say, okay, I'm not getting attached to this one. I let them sleep in the bed with me. I
Right.
feed them. I'm like, oh, you need a treat. Oh, you need a snack. You need this. You need that. It's like, God, I'm a mess
Oh
when it
yeah,
comes to
that's I've
them.
heard that about cockatiels too. Yeah, those birds live a long time too. I know my mom's friend had a pair of cockatiels, and I mean, from the time I was little, I can remember she had them, and she still has them. So I don't know if they're ever going to die.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, this person I was talking to, they literally were like, we have to make arrangements,
Wow.
because
Yeah,
when we
that's,
go,
that's
somebody's
wild.
got to take the bird. And it was funny because they were saying that the bird kind of has a nasty disposition, and that everybody
Um,
they've talked to has said, "No, I don't want that bird,"
right. I'm not
And
taking
so
that.
they're like, "What are we going to do? We got to find somebody that'll take care of the bird." It's like, well, if he wasn't so nasty, maybe somebody would want him.
Oh,
I
poor
don't know.
bird.
I don't know. But I get too attached, and it's too
Yeah.
I don't like it if they're sick or, you know, anything like that. It just really. And then anymore, the way the vets are, like, okay, Chloe's 12 years old. They told me that she's going to need to have knee surgery.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and I'm like, the dog jumps up, from my bed down to the floor and back up onto the bed. I don't think there's anything wrong with her knees, but I think they were just saying, because as they age, because she's a Dotson Chihuahua mix, and so she's got two longer legs and then two shorter legs, and like
Oh,
because I guess because of the way that she walks or something that it can mess up her
yeah.
knees. So in other words, she might have to have knee surgery. And I'm like, okay, well, if she's in pain, is she in pain? And they're like, well, no. I'm like, well, okay, as long as she's not in pain, I'm not putting her through having surgery. I just,
No,
you know,
especially not an unnecessary surgery. Like,
yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll keep that in the back of my head. When she
right.
tells me she needs to have knee surgery, we'll have knee surgery. But I really
Well,
think they do.
uh, a lot of breeds have like certain things that they are prone to. Like it's just pretty much like hereditary. Like German shepherds are really prone to like hip
Yeah,
dysplasia.
yeah,
There's a lot of dogs actually that are prone to hip dysplasia, but you just have to be prepared for that type of stuff. You got to do your research about the breed that that you're getting and know what you're getting into. That's all.
yeah.
We
And now,
keep
like
a really
Dotson
good
have
diet.
a bad back. They have back issues because of their back being so long. But her
Hmm.
back isn't all that long because she's Chihuahua and Dotson mix, so she doesn't have
Okay.
the whole long body, and she has longer back legs and shorter front legs. She's really quite comical the way she's put together. It's like, yeah, that wasn't a good mix.
Not at all.
And somebody I worked with, they had both the mom and the dad, and they had the puppies because the kids were not good at keeping the dogs apart, so they ended up having these puppies. And so I went to look at the puppies, and of course I fell in love with her. But then they weren't taking care of them, and they were like, "You can get her early." So I got her when she was 5 weeks old. So I mean, I had
Oh,
to get her to drink and eat and everything. I mean, that's why
oh
we
my
bonded,
God.
because every couple of hours I was up checking on that poor little dog. Um, but she was fine, but it just I couldn't let her stay there once I knew that they weren't taking care of them. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, okay. And I almost got a second one too because I just felt so bad for him. I was
Oh no.
maybe I ought to get another one, but I did talk somebody into getting one of them. I think they had five, and I know we got the two of them, so I don't know what they did with the other three. But
Wow. Yeah, my sister just got rid of her cat's kittens. Her cat got out and ended up getting pregnant because she has so many stray cats in her neighborhood,
yeah,
and her cat is an inside cat, but she got out and then of course she got pregnant, so she ended up having three kittens.
mm.
And I just literally got, you know, rid of her kittens for her. So
Oh goodness,
it's not easy when you're looking for good homes for them.
right,
Want to
right,
make sure they go to a good home and, that they're going to be happy. So I've been in touch with the two different uh, ladies that came. One of them there was two girls and a boy. So one couple got the boy and the girl, and then the other couple got the other girl. So I've been in touch with both of them, trying to, how are they doing? How are they adjusting? Are they, they're sending me pictures, and I'm like, okay, I'm just checking in.
yeah. Well, you have to because you don't know what people are going to do. People are, you know,
So they're really happy with them. They're like, oh, they're so good, and they're doing this or that, or so yeah. I just, you know, I get attached to, and I don't even spend time with the cats, but it's just a thing. You just have a heart for animals, and it doesn't matter what the animal is, or like
right.
possums. I cannot look at a possum and think anything bad. Um,
I just hate
I had to
seeing them on
save
the
a
side of the
possum when I
road.
got a dog.
I get upset every time, and I live like far enough out in the country that you have to drive maybe 5 miles to get to the main road, and there's definitely always stuff on the side of the road, and I'm like, what
Yeah,
is going on here? People, why are you driving like maniacs on this road? It's like, look out for, and what they're doing is the town is growing, and they're
yeah,
cutting down all the trees to put new buildings, and these poor wildlife, they have nowhere to go. And
yeah,
so there, what little bit of woods is left, it's like that road is right there. And so
yeah,
they, things keep getting hit. But it's like,
yeah,
they shouldn't be allowed to do that. There should be some kind of a ordinance or something that you have to leave so much habitat for the wildlife when you're
yeah.
selling off your
I
property
agree.
or whatever,
I
because
I remember
it's not fair.
I remember thinking that like when they're getting ready to build like new developments and subdivisions and whatever else they're trying to put up, like they should have to consult with like the ecological like
Hmm.
society or something, or like you know what I mean, the wildlife preservation
Yeah.
area or something like that. Like that should be part of the process. Like you can't just eliminate everything that is, a home for the wildlife, because then they're like, oh, there's a coyote in my yard, or there's a fox over here, and it's
Well,
like,
yeah, because
well, what
there's
are you?
nowhere for them. I mean, they don't want to be in your yard, but there's
At
nowhere for them to
all.
go.
Right.
So,
They
you
were
know,
here first.
when you take out all of the area for them to live in, and not only are you taking away the area, but you're taking away their environment where they can't get food and water as easily either. So
Right.
they're going to come up to the houses looking for whatever they can find, and you can't
Right.
really fault them for that.
Exactly.
They're just
Now
trying
they're
to
now they're
survive.
smelling now they're smelling your garbage, they're
Hmm.
smelling, different things in the area other than what they normally would be hunting. Now those smells are different in the area because now you have houses there. And they're like, "Oh, the raccoons keep getting in my garbage and this and that." Well, they they were here first. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not their fault.
Mm-mm. But now I have friends that live in South Carolina, and they have a black bear population problem. And they'll have the black bears will just come right up in your yard, and they're afraid for their little dog. Like they can't let their dog go
Yeah.
outside unless they're with it on a leash, because the bear, I mean, they've actually come home in the daytime, pulled up in their yard, and there's a black bear in their yard.
Wow.
So, it's not just at night, it's anytime. And I think what they caught him one time, he was actually trying to get the bird seed out of the bird feeder.
Oh
So
my God.
obviously
The
he was
bear?
hungry. Yeah.
The bear?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know they ate bird seed.
I didn't know they would either. And they didn't
I mean, I
either
know they
because,
eat
they
berries and
made sure
stuff,
they didn't
but
have any trash out or anything, because when, like the first time they saw him, and which it might not be the same one, but with the first time, they were like, well, maybe somebody left food in the garbage or whatever like that. So then they were making sure that they weren't doing anything like that. And then when they pulled up in the yard, he was standing up on his hind legs and had it was like a cylinder bird feeder with the little perches on the sides. And he had a hold of that thing, shaking that bird food into his mouth. Like, boy, he was hungry now. And they took pictures. It was so funny. They took pictures of it and put it on Facebook. Like, look what we came home to.
oh my
Oh
gosh.
my
He
goodness.
found himself a snack.
And they don't really live like what I would consider in the country. I mean, they don't live like in a subdivision, but not
Yeah.
really, not that you would think a bear, but I guess because they have mountains around there and things, and they just, and I think my friend was saying that it's like at certain times of the year, the bears will come down the mountain,
Yeah.
you know.
Probably after they wake up from hibernation or whatnot. then they wake up and they're looking for food, or maybe it's right before they go into hibernation and they want
Maybe.
to stock up on food or whatnot. So it's probably either one of those times.
It says Yogi and Boo Boo will eat just about anything they can get their hands on.
Oh,
Their
Lisa's
sense
back.
of smell is intense. Oh, wow. Okay. Hmm.
Lisa actually does rescue. Well, she doesn't try to do it anymore, but she does like rescue of different animals. She actually has experience with rescuing like possums, and I think she right now she has a turtle or a tortoise. Tortoise, Lisa? Is it a tortoise or a turtle? Really big guy.
Mm.
She's got a few different experiences with animals that she's rescued. Yeah, we were talking about black bears, Lisa. Echo said she had seen a post of these people that the black bear was uh, snacking on their bird seed out of
Bird
their bird
food. Yeah.
food. I was like, I didn't think they would eat bird seed of all things, but who knows? They were maybe he was just snacking.
I don't
Oh,
know,
it's
but
a
they
tourist.
sat in their car and filmed it while, because they couldn't get out of their car because they were afraid of him. But he was a big
Absolutely.
old bear.
Because aren't black bears are black bears the ones that are aggressive, or is it the brown bear?
I don't know, but I think any bear could be potentially aggressive.
Yeah, some of them are like not really that aggressive. Like they wouldn't come at you unless they had to. But other ones, they'll like see you and be like, "Okay, I'm coming at you."
She said it's a American
Non-ABT.
cherry head tortoise. She's
Okay, yeah, the tortoise is pretty big. Yeah, bears get desperate.
birdseed fruit, berries, your garbage. Yeah. I mean, I know squirrels will
Okay,
eat your
so here's the
bird.
black bear.
I know squirrels will eat it, but I didn't know that the black bears are the aggressive. Okay. I
Oh
had
yeah.
one chase me down a mountain in North Carolina. Well, these people are in South Carolina. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And they're actually within about a 15-mile radius. It's Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina all right there together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Gosh.
150 pounds. Whoo, that's a big tortoise.
That is big.
That tortoise must eat a lot.
I was going to say, where do you keep it? I mean, that's strange. Hey, Mimi.
South American cherry head tortoise.
Huh.
That's the one she has now. But she had a tortoise that was 150 pounds. Whew,
Hmm.
that's a big tortoise.
Yeah, that's the big one. I know they move kind of slow, but still, I wouldn't want a 150-pound tortoise coming after me.
They
Yes.
used to open the refrigerator and help themselves.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Right? That's a big tortoise.
Yeah.
They were loose in the yard and they went in the house too. Well, that's good. They had lots of roaming area
Yeah.
because they probably needed it. They can be quick.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
this is Lisa. Lisa's the one who sent me the book of
Oh, okay.
Squarefoot Gardening.
Cool. I'm going to
I
write
was
down
talking about how I was
her
going to do a lot of
channel.
Squarefoot gardening this year.
Our Georgia suburban homestead. Where is she? What part of Georgia is she in?
She said it earlier. What part of Georgia are you in, Lisa? I can't remember what you said.
Suburban.
I think she said she's like north of Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Okay. I wish I could. There were more people here in Georgia because I would love to go to a meetup, but it seems like nobody is close to Georgia. Oh, that's good. I bought an adult coloring book, and I bought these colored pencils that you twist it so you don't have to sharpen it. You just twist it up.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yes, Lisa, I am going to enjoy this book this year because I'm going to do a lot of square foot gardening. She said
Yeah.
Gwinnett County.
Okay. I'll figure out where that is.
Gwinnett County.
Yeah, it's probably North Georgia. Georgia's a big long state. Takes about 8 hours to drive from one end to the other.
Yeah,
What's in-
I remember when I was driving home from, I went to Florida, to Pensacola to meet my daughter so that we could drive her car and all her belongings home from Florida. She was getting ready to head out to Japan. So she was leaving Florida to come home, bring all her belongings in her car, and then she was flying out to go to Japan. So I flew to Pensacola, met her right at the airport, jumped in the car, and we drove all the way back to Indiana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we went through Georgia, but we didn't have to go through the entire state of Georgia, I don't think.
Hmm.
Well, actually, we did. We did have to go through the entire state of Georgia. So
Yeah.
that was definitely a long drive, and it was 100 degrees out, and she had no air in her car.
Oh my gosh.
It was so bad. I told her I feel like two strips of crispy bacon.
This stupid thing. Yeah, 2 strips of bacon. That's funny. I'm just gonna
So
take this off
bad.
to put my hat on because it is not cooperating. It's been aggravating me the whole time. So we'll do this instead. Mimi lives in Rhode Island. She said it takes 40 minutes to go from one end to the other in Rhode Island. Rhode Island
Oh
is
wow!
teeny tiny state.
Right, 40 minutes.
But it took the whole state of Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. It seemed like we drove all of that in the same length of time that we drove from the top of Georgia to the bottom of Georgia.
Yes,
So, yeah.
it was long.
And I don't like going through the mountains there through Chattanooga. So, one time I went home, I went over to Alabama and went up Alabama that way, which it
Okay.
makes it a lot longer of a trip, but at least I didn't have to go through those mountains.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we didn't drive through Georgia. We drove through Alabama. Yeah, we drove
Yeah.
through Alabama because I remember we stopped in Montgomery. So
Hmm.
yeah, we didn't drive through Georgia because Pensacola is right under Alabama. So it's all
Yeah,
the way
it's in
over
the
in
Gulf. It's in the along the Coast.
yeah, it's all the
Yeah,
way over in the Panhandle, right underneath Alabama. So yeah,
yeah,
we didn't have to drive through Georgia. We went through straight up through Alabama, and going through Tennessee was crazy fast. Like I think we got through Tennessee like within an hour.
yeah. Tennessee is not bad at all, and Kentucky's not that much bigger than Tennessee. Indiana is a pretty long state, and
Yeah.
Georgia's a long state. But yeah, that was the worst car trip I've ever been on when we moved to Georgia. My ex-husband did not believe me that I had never driven on a long car trip and that I was going to get lost and I didn't want to be in it my own, we were bringing 2 cars, so
Oh
I had to
no.
be driving by myself, and in every major city we had discussed ahead of time to go on the bypass or go through the city. We got to Atlanta and I couldn't remember what he had said, if he said go through it or go around it. So I went through it, he went around it, we ended up getting
Oh,
separated, And eventually I got back on 75 and was like, well, I know where I'm going. I'm just going to go. And eventually he'll figure out he can't find me and maybe he'll go, you know. And
Yeah.
so um, then I broke down on 75 right outside of Macon.
Oh my gosh.
And this man stopped to help me and drove me up to the gas station, and I was able to call the job my husband was we were supposed to be going to let them know if my husband calls to say I've lost my wife, I'm going to be late, tell him where I'm at, that I'm broke down on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Well, by the time we got back to the car, he had found us.
Oh,
And
good.
so mad, but he was so mad that I had went with this strange man to the store to use the phone, and it was a little old man, real old man. It, like it wasn't, you know, I
Oh
wasn't
no.
pregnant or anything. I was like, you better be appreciative because he helped me out. He didn't have to stop, you know, and help me.
Right.
Um, so then we went a little bit further, and then my car just totally died. And then we had to take everything that we had in my car and try to fit it into his. We had a van,
Oh my
but it was
God.
already full. So I had to sit on two suitcases, and I had two ginger jar lamps. Why I was bringing those from Indiana, I don't know. But so the last 100 miles, I rode bouncing on a suitcase, holding on to two ginger jar lamps, and my head was touching the roof of the van because I was up on these suitcases. It was a mess.
Oh,
Believe
wow.
it, I was not a happy camper when we finally got to Georgia. I was not, you know, happy. And then we finally got met up with his boss. They got us in a motel. The next morning he got up and he went to work, took the van, of course, to go to work, but didn't bother to get anything out of the van. So I didn't have a change of clothes. I didn't have,
Oh no. What a
anything that I.
nightmare.
And so here I'm in this room for like 12 hours with nothing, waiting for him to get home from work, you know. And he was like, why are you in a bad mood? Oh, I don't know. Just 12 hours sitting here mad at you for not leaving, at least giving me my suitcase. You know, it was
Right.
it was so bad. And we moved here in November, so it was like cold in Indiana when we left. We get down
Right.
here, it's like in the 70s. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go swimming, you know. And they're like, no, the hotel pool was closed. They close them in September and don't open them back up until like the first part of April. And I was like, it's 70 degrees out. You could have
Oh
your
wow.
pool open. And they're like, no, no, nobody goes swimming down here when it's, in November. I'm like, okay. I was depressed then after that.
Right.
But yeah, I did not have a good experience moving to Georgia. I really, really did not. I
That's
don't
terrible.
recommend
That
moving
sounds like a nightmare.
somewhere where you don't know anybody, other than your spouse, and then he's gone all day at work. So you're like, okay, stuck in a strange place with no transportation.
Oh no.
Jan said they got
7 inches of
7 inches of
snow.
snow, but before that they had freezing rain. Oh no.
Oh wow. So that's crazy because then all that freezing ice is underneath
Hmm.
your um snow.
Yeah, that's not good at all. But dangerous.
Oh, you have to email Lisa? Oh, she was sending me pictures of the tortoise,
Oh, cool.
but I didn't see them. No, I don't see it, Lisa. It's are you using the right email? It's Indiana Backyard Gardener at gmail.com if that's the one that you're trying to use. because I don't use the other one anymore because it's full. I had to start over with a new email because the Gmail always is telling me that I'm out of storage and I can't get any more emails and I can't do this or that, and they want me to buy more storage, and I'm like, I'm not buying more storage. I'm not buying any storage.
It's like I still have a email from like when I first got an email account, and I don't really use it either. Every once in a while, there'll be somebody that still has that email address, but most of the time it's just advertisements and spam in there, you know. But I mean, I guess I could use it if I really, wanted to. But
I still use my AOL.
well, mine is bellsouth.net. That's how old it is. It's not
Oh
even.
wow.
I mean, Bell South hasn't been in business, I don't know for how long, and uh, whoever bought them out's been bought out now, so I don't even know. I'm surprised that thing even still
Was
works.
that where was that at? Was that in
That
Indiana?
was here. No, that was here in Georgia, but that was like
Oh,
probably 30 years ago.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know it used to be like what did it used to be called? Like it was depending on whatever your state was. It was like Illinois Bell,
Yeah.
Indiana Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was like, and then it was Ameritech for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Ameritech was the phone. Um, and then it went to something else, and I don't even know what but after that point, it was like there was no more landlines. After that, I don't know, remember what the phone company was after that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really strange to think back all those years ago, when we didn't even know what email was. It was like a weird thing. Oh, you have an
Yeah,
email address? Like now
with
it's like
dial
people
up,
don't have an email address. You got to
right?
have
Having
an
to
email address.
waiting for dial up to come on.
I can remember having the party line where you
Yeah.
actually had to ask the person, "Could you get off the phone now? I need to make a call." Although
Or you couldn't be on the phone at the same time you were on the internet.
oh,
It
that
was
was
like
when dial-up first came up. Yep,
it was like either or. You couldn't
yep,
be
couldn't
if
do
you
both.
wanted to be on the computer, you couldn't have the phone would be busy. There
Mm-mm,
wasn't both.
no. But I remember back when we had a black and white television. I remember when we got our first color television when I was a kid. And it was
Yeah.
like a big deal because people would come to your house to be able to watch television in color. It's
Wow.
like I cannot imagine. Gee, can we come over and watch your television? Can't imagine it. That's funny. Hmm. Yeah, things definitely have changed. I remember 8-track cassettes. Um, yeah, I remember a lot of old things. All those quizzes that say, if you know what this is, you're probably old. It's like, yes, I'm old because I remember all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'll say to my daughter sometimes, something, and she'll be like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, that's right. You're too young to
Kids
know
are
what that
funny.
is." It's like, okay, never mind. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Kids are funny. Like I grew up in a time we didn't have cell phones. So
Oh, I know. I
good
didn't
night,
get
Dan. Thank you for coming in.
I didn't get my first cell phone until after my daughter was born, so I was almost 35. I had her when I was 34, and the only reason I ended up getting a cell phone is because my car broke down and I had to walk with her carrying her carrier to a payphone to call for help. And that's when my husband was like, "Well, maybe we need to get a cell phone." And back then they were big, big things. They were not definitely not like they are today.
Yeah. It was
It's
like
like,
big satellite phones.
yeah. But yeah, I think she got her first cell phone when she was like 8 because I had to work. and she had to go to the neighbor's house, and I didn't want her to um, have to ask them to use the phone if something happened or whatever, and she needed to call me or something. So I was like, okay, I'll get you a cell phone.
Mm.
But I think even if they were popular when I was a kid, that's not something my parents would have paid for me to have.
That's funny.
Best way to lock up teens these days is use a rotary phone as the key to exit the room. Write the instructions in hand by cursive exactly.
Ah, that's funny. I taught, well, I taught my daughter how to write in cursive. They weren't teaching it in school anymore, so thank you, Jan. Thank you so much. She said she's gonna keep the live stream running while she's saying good night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we've been on here for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So, but you still got, golly, you got 15 people over on your side,
Oh
and
yeah.
I got five over here. So,
Well, I guess we can call it a night.
right. I
Thank you so
enjoyed
much
it.
for having me on.
I am so interested now in the fermenting stuff. I'm going to have to check into that. I think that
Yeah, do
really,
some research.
yeah,
A
that's
lot of it is
interesting.
it's so simple to do. So
Yeah,
you don't need a lot of fancy equipment, not like
yeah,
some people, portray it to be. But check it out. Try your hand at it. It's not that hard.
yeah. Because I like cabbage, so, and
Yeah.
I like sauerkraut, so I might
Me
actually like
too.
it.
I love sauerkraut. I like to have sauerkraut like on Polish sausages
Oh,
and
yeah.
um like at Sam's Club they have these beef hot dogs that they sell at the
Mm-hmm.
food court and they give you these little packages of sauerkraut to go with it. It's so good.
Oh, okay. I think you put sauerkraut on a Reuben sandwich too,
Oh yeah.
with the
Mm-hmm.
corn, or is it corned beef or roast?
Corned
I think
beef.
it's corned beef. Yeah. Yeah, that's real good. But I'll definitely look into that, and I'm going to do some research on what kind of tomatoes and cucumbers to get to grow on my patio, because
Yeah,
I think that would be really neat to do, and my
absolutely.
granddaughter would enjoy watching them grow, and
Yeah.
of course, then I can eat them. So
Okay.
that would be good. Well, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, we will see each other on the YouTube streets, I'm
Yes,
sure.
I will.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. Have a great night. I'm
Thanks
going to
everyone.
go ahead and say goodbye.